More than 80 million people have received their stimulus money. Some have already spent it on things like food and rent. Checks are even getting sent to people who are no longer living. KCTV5 stands for you. Joe Chiodo talked with a local woman looking to return $1,200.
A woman from Lansing, Kansas received her late husband's check yesterday. She asked me, how do I return this money since he's no longer alive? She is not the only one in that situation. We got answers in tonight's Good Question. This is Paul Simons, a father and grandfather, a preacher, and a husband.
He was 86, and he was wonderful and kind, and I miss him.
His wife, Ann, tells me this past November, Paul died. He fell while taking a walk.
Pretty hard when you go from 2 Social Security incomes just down to 1.
It couldn't have happened at a worse time. The two were downsizing from this home in KCK to a new one in Lansing.
And then I'm in the process of trying to sell my other house, and it hasn't sold yet. And I'm paying taxes, utilities, insurance on both houses.
I FaceTimed with Ann as she was moving things out of the house that truly became a home.
We were married only 12 years, but this is where we came after we got married, and this is where all of our memories are.
The past 5.5 months have been tough. Her to-do list grows and grows. Just yesterday, she added another task: return Paul's $1,200 stimulus check that unexpectedly arrived with hers.
I would love to keep that $1,200, but it's not mine.
Except it technically is. She emailed us a Good Question, asking how she could return the check. She spent an hour making calls and doing research with no luck. So I called a certified CPA in St. Joe, Joe Hirschwee. He says it's hers to keep.
That's right. The IRS considering them a gift, not subject to tax.
You're kidding.
No, we are not. And here's why. Paul and Ann most recently filed taxes in 2018. That year, Paul was alive. The two filed jointly. Because of that, the government sends a check for each person on that return. That's how they figure out who gets a stimulus payment, even if one is deceased.
It's a positive. It's helping.
For Ann, that will certainly be the case.
I can have something in the bank if I get ill or, things I need.
She says it's a final reminder from Paul that he's still there in times of need. Joe Chiodo, KCTV5 News.
So glad Joe could help her. Now, if Paul and Ann had filed separately, or if Paul had died in 2018 instead of 2019, Ann would have had to pay that money back. Well, another problem, some checks are getting deposited into old accounts or just plain wrong accounts. If it happens to you, you're out of luck for 15 days. Watch for a letter from the IRS. It will have instructions on reporting an incorrect payment.